onion was a classic case. I mean, it should always be kept open, and if there is a spike here, then things can flow in from Pakistan. It will benefit the farmers there, traders there, and hopefully same thing, the reverse flow can take place. On the case of potato that you talked about, at that time when you were selling at 2 rupees, 3 rupees, same thing was happening here. It was 2 rupees, 3 rupees, people were throwing. But seeds, there is a lot of scope. I mean, we know of whom we call as the king of potatoes in Jalandhar, Sangha family, 5,000 acres doing seed potatoes, and they are supplying to Gujarat and other places. Perhaps that can be Basmati, Pusa Basmati, or other breakthroughs that have been experienced here which have increased the exports. But all said and done, going back to your question of comparative advantage, where we have the Balasa index, if you look at on revealed comparative advantage, it is 1.6 for agriculture, Indian agriculture, vis-a-vis 0.98 for manufacturing sector. So it is globally, when you compare, your agriculture is more competitive than the manufacturing sector. Now, I don't know about Pakistan where it stands, but I would say, given the similar structure, climatic and many of the other yield factors broadly on a similar platform, you won't be very different on that front too. So that's what brings me to the point of, is there a possibility of some global value chains building up by combining the resources from the two? Quinoa would be one example. You have quinoa in Punjab here, you have quinoa in Punjab there, but we don't have quinoa juice. We are still importing all the way from, orange juices, Tropicana imports from Brazil and whatnot. Why quinoa juice has not been brought into this environment? The same thing on maybe milk and cheese and other things of Nestle. There is so much of milk, and that will create a huge market, and that will incentivize the producers to increase their production further. And hopefully the two nations, with the given technology of processing, and if organized retailing develops, then the value chains can be built in. These are some of the few thoughts that I thought, but I'm grateful particularly to the panelists, Dr. Hoda giving us the options on the fears that subsidization. I was thinking of a sterilization duty. You work out, there are 3 or 4 commodities on which all these these subsidies in India go: rice, wheat, sugar. Much of this, all this subsidization of water or power or fertilizer go into these, and you work it out, it comes to about anywhere from 7% to 15% of the price of the product. So you work out that as a sterilization duty to neutralize the subsidy phenomenon, and after that the game can be much more freer. But definitely your point that tariffs in India are too high. Even rice tariff that you gave, 70%, despite the fact we are the biggest exporter of rice in the world, which is somewhat, I think, a negotiating stand. Perhaps Professor Hoda can respond to me. All these tariffs need to be brought down to 10%, 15%, 20%, and not 70%, 80%. Well, thanks a lot for your patience, and clap for the panelists and the commentators here. And thank you, Nisha, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, speakers and panelists. With this, I think we come to the day's close. We have dinner at 7:30, and for the participants, for our foreign participants, we have 3-4 cars. And if anybody wants to go to the hotel and come back, you can do that. But please be back by 7:30. So, and if you don't want to go back, you can take a walk around here. It's a nice, it's a nice campus, so you can have a walk around, feel refreshed, and then come back for dinner. Thank you.